Ahmadiyya youth is very much convinced that this Ahmadiyya community, which is the family business of Mirza Ghulam Mirza Qadiani, is after the money, is like on the name of Islam, on the name of Allah and Quran. Actually, they are looking for the money and they are getting money out of your pockets. Let me quote first of all one quotation from the Quran, and then I will say that how far this Jamaat and the founder of this Ahmadiyya community can go. You will be surprised with the statement of or the fatwa of Mirza Ghulam Mirza Qadiani. In Surah Baqarah, the chapter 2, the verses 267, which will be the 268 according to Ahmadiyya Quran. It says, O you who believe, give of the good things which you have honorably earned, and of the fruits of the earth which we have produced for you, and do not even aim at getting anything which is bad, in order that out of it you may give away something, when you yourself would not receive it except with the closed eyes, and know that Allah is free of all wants and worthy of all praises. Now here it says very clearly that in the way of Allah, in the way of Islam, if you have to give anything, you have to give the good, not the bad things. Honorable earnings you have to give. Now let's see okay, what Mirza Sahib says and how this Jamaat is after the money. They don't care about the Islam's publication and working for Islam or the preaching of Islam and all this. No, they just after money, and they will use the Islam name. Now here is that one of that the companion of Mirza Ghulam Mirza Qadiani said that at one point one person asked a fatwa, like the companion of Mirza Ghulam Mirza Qadiani was Mia Abdullah Sonori. He said that one person asked in the city of Ambala, asked a fatwa from Mirza Sahib that my sister was a prostitute. The person is telling that my sister was a prostitute, and that person was also in this kind of like sort of things, and he was also, you can say, pimp or whatever you want to say. He was in the same business. He said that she earned a lot of money, and after that she died and he inherited her money, and after that this person like gave up that kind of bad practice, and he became like he asked the forgiveness of Allah, and he converted to the right path. And now he's asking that what should I do with that money which my sister earned while she was prostitute. Now the Mirza Sahib gave fatwa that you can give this money, the whole money you can give for the preaching and for the serving of Islam. So Mirza Sahib's fatwa, let me read for those that one who always object that I did the wrong translation and this and that. Okay? Let me read for Urdu. एक साहब ने फतवा दरियाफ्त किया कि मेरी एक बहन कंचनी थी, कंचनी मीन्स अ प्रोस्टिट्यूट, उसने इस हालत में बहुत सा रुपया कमाया, फिर वो मर गई और मुझे उसका तरका मिला, मगर बाद में मुझे अल्लाह ताला ने तौबा और इस्लाह की तौफीक दी। अब मैं इस माल को क्या करूं? मिर्ज़ा साहब सेज, हज़रत साहब ने जवाब दिया कि हमारे ख्याल में इस ज़माने में ऐसा माल इस्लाम की खिदमत में खर्च हो सकता है. This kind of a money that you can spend in the publication, in the preaching of Islam. Now, as I gave that before the quotation, that Allah says that whatever you have to give in the way of Allah, you have to give honorably earnings, good ones. Now, when I say this thing, that this Jamaat is after the money, that Allah is demanding in in his commandment in Quran that you should give the good honorable earnings, and whereas the prostitutes earning, Mirza Sahib is giving this kind of fatwa that you can spend this one in the way of Islam, that for the preaching of Islam. I know that the Ahmadiyya priesthood will say that this is for the time being fatwa was. I tell you something. Islam was never poor, and Islam will never be poor. Poor means the one that Islam have no logic. Islam will have no argument. That makes poor. That does not make poor if you don't have money. If Mirza Sahib does not have money, that make Islam poor? No way. What are you talking about? If people have no money, that Islam is poor? Islam is poor when Islam cannot defend itself, when Islam cannot give arguments. Then it's a poor, and Islam will never be poor. Islam is always strong, always rich. Okay. Now, how today the Mirza Masroor Ahmad writes. Now, let me give you this one. First of all, his letter dated 8th May 2007, and the letter reference is VM-5129. This is the letter reference. He says that he issued this circular to all the Ahmadiyya Jamaats and to their emirs that no office bearer should be in the error of 2 months chanda. That any office bearer who is in the error of 2 months, quit. Tell him, dismiss him. He should be no more office bearer. He said that the thing is this one, that anybody who is in error of 2 months, okay, expel them, mean from that office, and get the another ones. Meaning is that one, he is not saying that any person who is not capable to offer the prayers 5 times a day, any person who does not know how to recite the Quran, any person who does not study Mirza Sahib's book, any person who have no knowledge of Islam, that should not be given, that should not be appointed as an office bearer. No, 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 no. You could be a drinker, you could be a gambler, you could be anyone. He doesn't care about these things. He just wants that any person who is in error of 2 months should not be appointed as the office bearer. This is, here is the thing, where Mirza Sahib is going. Mirza Sahib is saying even the earning of the prostitute is acceptable, is good for Islam. Meaning, give it to me. He is asking that money. Here, Mirza Masroor is asking, look, you don't offer the prayer, you don't go for Hajj, you don't recite the Quran, you don't read Mirza Sahib's book, forget it about. I have no problem into that. But if you are not going to give the money, if you are in area of 2 months, okay, get lost. I don't need you. You will be no more any office bearer. For God's sake, appointing on anybody on as an office bearer, you have to look into this kind of his qualities. That does he know about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad enough? Does he know about Ahmadiyyat? Does he know about Islam? Okay, forget it about Islam because you are Ahmadi. So you should know. If a person does not know about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad and he have not read Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's book, how are you going to appoint that person? But you don't care. You don't need that one. He needs your money. Please look at that one, what kind of preaching, what kind of a message he is giving. Is he talking about Islam? No, he's talking about the money. Because his great-grandfather, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani, is accepting and giving a fatwa that the prostitute money, her earning, is good for Islam. Whereas Allah saying in Surah Baqarah 267, no, you should give in the way of Allah honorable earnings. MD youth, think about that one. Think, please, read that one. Tell Mirza Masroor, send the message that you should not asking money. Don't make it the money compulsory. You should make that the person Ahmadi who have not read Mirza's book should not be appointed as an office bearer. Shame on these things. Shame on these things. Instead of looking at this one, you are preaching your Ahmadiyya, but you are not asking that the office bearer should read the Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's books. You are asking that about the money. I do understand and I accept that. No organization can be run without money. But here is the main thing. You should know what you are preaching. What are your foundations? He should be asking that every Ahmadi should, whereas Mirza Sahib said every Ahmadi should, if any Ahmadi does not read his book 3 times, he doesn't consider him as an Ahmadi. So look at this one. Shame on these things. Thank you. We will continue.